All right, go ahead and give me one shot. All right. All right, full out of...
Yeah, more information continues to come out about the tragic shooting death of a shooting instructor in Arizona by a 9-year-old New Jersey girl. The 911 tapes have now been released, and they tell an emotional story of people trying to save the life of this instructor. We want to warn people that this is hard to listen to.
He needs a helicopter now.
They're on their way, sir.
Okay.
Is he still breathing?
Yes, he is.
Okay, are you applying pressure to the wound?
Yes, I am. He's convulsing and he's choking on his own spit. You're okay, Charlie. You're okay. Put this leg, make it a 4. Make his leg a 4. Bend the knee. Bend the knee. Bend your knee, Charlie. I don't think he's going to make it.
Now, we went to speak to Dan Roberts. Dan has a unique perspective on this case. He's a father of New Jersey's 10-year-old shooting star, Shyanne Roberts. He's also a certified firearms instructor, so he knows both sides of this. Dan told me that much is being made about the age of the shooter, but he said age really isn't the factor.
I've been around grown adults that shouldn't be within 300 yards of a slingshot. I have a 10-year-old nationally sponsored, highly competitive athlete that's a shooter. It really is situational. I have no doubt that I could leave a fully loaded, belt-fed machine gun on the coffee table and Shy wouldn't even think about touching it.
The police report from the Vegas shooting indicates that the 9-year-old immediately after the shooting told her parents and everyone else that the Uzi was too much for her. It hurt her shoulder and she couldn't control it. And that's got people asking once again whether or not an Uzi ever should have been in the hands of a 9-year-old in the first place. For the first time, the family of the little girl has now issued a statement. They're asking for prayers for the instructor and his family, and they're also asking people not to take this tragedy and use it for their own personal and political agenda. Regardless of the wishes of some, this tragedy has sparked the gun debate over and over again. But as several families are trying to cope, put together the pieces, and rebuild their lives, we continue to debate whether it's legislation, training, or something else that will guarantee this never happens again.
I mean, it seems to me like you look at something like this, it's so horrific, but really shouldn't have anything to do with the national gun debate. This has to do, in my opinion at least, with the decisions that were made on the ground to, you know, give the kid an Uzi, to have a full magazine. I mean, there were so many decisions that were made that led up to this. Veronica?
Yeah, it's about common sense. It's not about more legislation. I mean, unfortunately, this instructor made a really bad set of decisions, and people might be afraid to say that because he's dead now, and nobody wants to point the finger at him, but he made a horrible set of choices that unfortunately led to this awful situation.
We don't have to have a national gun debate, but if common sense can't be used at places where guns are being used, then maybe someone does need to step in.
You know, Tamara makes an interesting point because only now is this particular range debating whether or not there should be a height requirement, an age requirement, and they have some pretty high-powered guns that they allow children to shoot there. So that's interesting. There were no real rules in place.
You know, guys, the burden will go back now, though, to the instructors who are out there. They're responsible. They're taking their life into their hands. And I think this is a real message that's going to resonate to instructors across the country to say, you got to be careful the next time you're training a young kid how to shoot a weapon like this. Well, we're praying for the family of both the instructor who lost his life and the little girl, because her recovery is going to be very challenging.